Hello again, everybody, and welcome to uh something different. Let's leave it at that. Um, First things first. I hope you can see that things look slightly different right now. And that is because I have finally been able to use some of the funds I've made through the DMs Guild to get me a new camera. The web camera I've been using since I started streaming. I purchased a little over 5 years ago, and it was a cheap webcam. Then it was not the top of the line, and it was purchased specifically so I could audition for the Geek and Sundry vlogger search. And it's been 5 years. They stopped supporting the camera. I started having to get creative about how to get it to work and things like that. And yeah, uh, it was time for me to get something that actually recorded in 1080p. There is one that actually does 4K recording, and there's no way I was ever going to be able to afford that. This one was on sale, so yeah, theoretically, I should have full 1080p videos and stuff like that. And my content should look a little bit better. I hope to upgrade my microphone eventually, but again, that's another pretty significant expense. So it's piecemeal. But the reason I'm making this video is as of yesterday, I have officially been a YouTuber for 5 years. That is half a decade that I've been making videos, and I think my last count, I can actually look it up in just a second here to make sure I've got the right number here. Yep. In five years, I have uploaded 752 videos, which is impressive. I know channels much larger than me that have a much smaller library of videos, and the other thing that's relatively impressive about it is a significant portion of my videos are really are long form videos. I was doing more long form content back when YouTube actively discouraged people from doing that, and the algorithm back then, before it was called the algorithm, was your videos needed to be less than 5 minutes in order to be successful, and it required jump cuts and all these other things, and had to be decent quality, and had to follow trends and things like that. And in 5 years, a lot has changed in YouTube, in my life, and for my channel specifically. This channel started off as a channel for me to do vlogging on, and while you could argue that the majority of the stuff I create specifically for the channel is could be classified as a vlog. I do a lot more than that. I have my D&D games that go up here. I have I've done gaming content. I've done some custom gaming content. I have music and singing on here. I've done a little bit of everything. And then when you look into the All for Geek Alliance, which was my old collab channel, I did some informative videos. I did some parody D&D games over there. I did charity live stream stuff. I've done a little bit of everything in 5 years, and yeah, it's weird to look back and see, because I went through and watched my first video, and I went through and picked out a couple other videos from significant times in my life, and looked through what's changed over the years, and so I'd like to talk about some of the things that I've learned, not only about being a YouTuber, but just about life itself and everything over 5 years of doing YouTube. First things first, opening yourself up and talking to people, even though right now I'm talking to a camera. I'm not talking to a real person. I'm getting no feedback or anything. I'm just talking to a camera. But the act of talking and recording and putting your thoughts into something that can be preserved, and then putting it out into the world, and sometimes getting feedback, and sometimes that feedback is not getting feedback. It really helps you to be able to know yourself a little better than you normally would by actually, and it's one of the reasons I do a lot of this unscripted kind of stream of consciousness vlogging, that again was very much frowned upon when I first started, and now is not technically what YouTube is looking for, but the fact that it's long means that YouTube likes it better than short stuff. They would like it even better if I could make really long content that is scripted and edited and looks really, really fancy and has all these lights and sounds and everything. That is what YouTube wants right now. They want television shows, not, user-created content like it started. But yeah, going back to what I've learned, doing this has really kind of opened my eyes to some of my own thought processes. It's helped me to meet people I never would have met any other way. I mean, I've had the pleasure of being able to work with some of my heroes, being friends, becoming friends with people that I never would have met in a million years due to geography, due to my own life and my own hang-ups as far as like meeting people and things like that. YouTube has really opened a new world for me, and really did change my life. There were significant dark portions of my life that having a camera, having someone to talk to, made a world of difference. Like I was able to get through some incredibly tough times that I probably would not have made it through without this, without, being able to express myself in a way that makes sense to me. Talking has has always been something that's made sense to me, despite the fact that I'm actually an incredibly shy person, and I've never really enjoyed meeting new people. I've never enjoyed making friends or anything like that. But for most of my life, because I knew I needed to do that, I would force myself to do things, and talking always made sense to me. Talking was always something I was good at. Writing, I'm okay, but I write the way that I talk, and so writing is just an extension of talking for me. And so YouTube itself gave me the ability to talk through my problems and and really examine them in a brand new way that I'd never had access to before. So yeah, it was life changing. And some of the other things that I learned about myself were I was able to discover some of my limits. I was able to discover some of the things that I thought were limits that weren't. For everybody, until you push yourself, until you actively try to test your limits and actively try to push yourself outside of your comfort zone and into doing things that you normally wouldn't do. And I'm not talking about, dangerous things or anything like that. Simply just, trying new experiences and new things. You will get to a point where you think you know your limits, because your brain will trick you into thinking your comfort zone is your limits. And it's not true. And once you break out of that comfort zone, which never disappears, by the way, you can sometimes expand and change what is comfortable to you, but the comfort zone never goes away. You will always have a place where you feel comfortable, and then you will have outside that, and you will have places where you can exist but will not be comfortable. And then outside that, you will have places where you simply cannot handle that. And that can be anything from mental limitations, physical limitations, emotional limitations, all those things. You have what makes you comfortable, which is the smallest circle, the things that you can do but make you uncomfortable, which is the slightly larger circle, and then the things that you just simply can't do. And learning where those areas are and kind of mapping them out is an incredibly useful thing. And YouTube helped me to do that. It also helped me to not just YouTube, but my life specifically over the past 2-ish years. I've learned that constantly trying new things is always a good idea, but your comfort zone is your comfort zone for a reason. And if you are constantly living outside of your comfort zone and constantly pushing yourself to your limits every single day and ignoring the fact that you are pushing yourself beyond your limits, and pushing yourself too hard and ignoring things like self-care and ignoring the fact that you are that there are things about your own health that you need to deal with, and sometimes that you need to get help with. you have what eventually happens is what happened to me, which was I got one bit of bad news about a year and a half ago, and it was a breaking point for me. I had been pushing myself so hard and living with such high anxiety levels and stress levels that were not healthy, trying to do so many things that I really couldn't do. And I just kept pushing down everything and going, no, 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 no. I'll, once I do this, it'll get better. Once I do this, it'll get better. Once I do this, it'll get better, and I can relax and I can take time for myself then. And eventually, what happens is you break. And that's what happened to me. I got one piece of bad news, and it set my depression into overdrive. I lost the will to live, and I've talked about being suicidal on this channel before, and it's a life-changing experience when you make the decision that your life is so painful and so difficult to live with that the only logical conclusion is to end it. Your outlook on life changes. It always will. But this was a brand new low. I'd been suicidal before. I had had people talk me down from suicide. This wasn't just, getting to the point where I'm like, I can't live like this anymore. I can't handle it. I can't handle the pain. I can't handle the agony. I literally lost the will to live. It wasn't, I can't handle this anymore. It was just, I'm done. I give up. Whatever happens, happens, but it's over. And I was lucky enough that I had an appointment to see my therapist, who I'd been seeing for about a year at that point. And I told her what was happening, and I told her how I felt. And she convinced me to go to convinced me. She said I needed to be committed to a psychiatric hospital. And I didn't want to do that because it terrified me. And I couldn't handle being away from my safe space for that long. And I didn't want to be locked up in a hospital in a place that I wasn't allowed to leave, where all the doors off the floor were locked and things like that. Like I couldn't handle that. And I was afraid they were going to put me in a room with another person, which didn't happen. I had my own room and bathroom and everything. But I was terrified of it. And she told me basically, well, you can voluntarily commit yourself, or I can call the police and they can do an assessment. And if they feel that you're a danger to yourself, we can have you committed. Which is a terrifying thing to hear from your therapist, whom I still go to. This did not sour our relationship whatsoever. She did what she felt was right, and got me the help that I needed at that particular point in time. And the kind of threat of, well, no, you're going to go there either way. You can do it voluntarily, or I can force you to do it. Was just her in her professional capacity doing what was necessary to keep me alive, because again, I had broken. And from that point on, I got worse. They had a psychiatrist at the hospital that was a moron and prescribed me medication that should have killed me. In order to fix that, I was put on addictive medication, which is currently causing me brain damage. That may or may not be permanent. The studies are not 100% conclusive about whether or not the damage caused by it does get fixed once you're off of it. And the withdrawal symptoms for going off this medication are deadly. I can die if I don't take this medication. If I go cold turkey, I can die. So, and since that day, I was only in the hospital for a couple of days, long enough to basically prove to them that I wasn't going to kill myself anymore. Again, getting locked up in a hospital is another thing that changes your life and changes your perspective. And from that point on, I have gotten worse and worse and worse. I've been diagnosed with major depressive disorder, generalized anxiety disorder, panic disorder with agoraphobia, social anxiety disorder, and most recently I have been post-traumatic stress disorder, and most recently I have been diagnosed with a thing called conversion disorder, which is what explains the tremor, the twitching in the rest of my body, and the seizures that I have twice a week. That have only been happening for the past like 5 months. So I have continued to get worse and worse and worse. I went from 5 years ago, I was a relatively successful businessman. I worked in retail management and sales. I was very, very good at my job. And now I can't leave my room without having panic attacks. I skip meals because I'm afraid to go down and get food because I don't keep food in my room. Yeah, and a lot of other things that I'm not going to go into right now. And I think a lot of this comes from the fact that I spent, 25 years ignoring and constantly pushing myself outside of my comfort zone over and over and over again. And again, I'm not saying that you should always live in your comfort zone or that going outside your comfort zone is bad. But I had some real things wrong with me that I wasn't even aware of. It took, I think, 6 months of therapy before even my therapist realized that there was stuff going on that I'd never dealt with, and that I didn't even know was going on in my head, and it was causing rather major issues. So yeah, I guess to sum up this entire long little bit of this video is self-care is really important, and getting help is really important. And if you don't, if you decide to just tough it out, if you decide that other people's problems are more important than yours, over and over and over again, eventually you will get to the point where you can't take it anymore. Everybody has their limit, And when you actually reach the true limit of your ability, the actual line in the sand between this is hard for me to do, this is extremely difficult for me to do, and this is impossible for me to do in my current state, you break. Like I did. And once you're broken, fixing it is so much more difficult. Fixing it, some of the effects of breaking are permanent. Some of them through therapy and doctors and psychology and things like that. Some of it can be repaired and you can get back to a functioning state. And some of it can't. Some of it I get to live with for the rest of my life. And the worst part about it is nobody actually knows what parts of me are so broken that they can't be fixed. And what damage is permanent and what damage is repairable. Nobody does. None of my doctors know. Neither of my therapists, I have two of them now. Neither of my therapists know. I don't know. But I know where my limits are. I know where the line in the sand is. And I know that I crossed it. And it had massive effects on my quality of life, on my ability to do the things that I want. I was an actor at one point. I used to average, I think it was between 2 and 4 shows a year. I would perform in theater. I did theater. And I was in one film, which is on the internet, and people have found it before. I have a hard time talking to a camera now, and I had one show that I did The Odd Couple, that I got the script on Saturday, and we opened the next Friday. And I was Felix, which is one of the 2 leads if you've never seen the show. By the way, if you've never seen The Odd Couple, you need to. It is a brilliant piece of theater. But anyway, I was one of 2 co-leads in a show that I'd never seen before. And like I said, I got script on Saturday. I had rehearsal Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. I missed final dress because I had to close the store on Thursday, and then I did 3 weekends of performances. So I did 9 performances with 3 rehearsals and having the book. Now I couldn't make it through a single scene of a play because my memory is so destroyed from the medication and from the anxiety and everything else. I couldn't make it through a single scene in a show. And I have no idea if I'm ever going to be able to act again. Anyway, the whole point of this thing is it's important to know where your comfort zone is. It's important to stretch outside of that comfort zone and to try new experiences and things like that, and to learn what your limits are. But it's also important to understand that you have limits, and if you are constantly pushing yourself to your limits, you will break. It's just how we work. So understand that every so often it's okay to take a mental health day. Every so often it's okay to tell someone, you know what, I really wish I could help you right now, but I can't. I have to take care of myself. It took me close to 30 years to learn that, so I hope that means something to you. As far as YouTube, I've learned quite a few things from YouTube. I've learned that if you want to be successful on YouTube, it's a crapshoot because YouTube is like playing Calvin ball. If you ever saw, if you ever read the comic Calvin and Hobbes, one of my favorite Sunday funny sections comics is Calvin and Hobbes. They had this game called Calvin Ball, and the only rule in Calvin Ball is that you make up the rules as you go. And that's what YouTube is. The big difference between Calvin Ball and YouTube is in Calvin Ball, if you're playing Calvin Ball, anyone can make up rules. And once a rule is made up, you have to follow that rule until a new rule is made up. For YouTube, YouTube gets to make the rules, and they get to change them whenever they want. And there's nothing you can really do about it. There's this thing called the YouTube Creators Guild or something like that. John and Hank Green created it, and it was supposed to be a way for YouTubers to be able to kind of almost unionize and try and get a little bit more of the power and control away from YouTube and back to the creators that made YouTube. It has been completely ineffective. When you look at what's happened with YouTube, with the quote-unquote adpocalypse and stuff like that, it's done nothing. YouTube still holds all the power. So if you want to be a YouTuber, you cannot come in trying to follow all of YouTube's rules, because they will change them randomly on you. And when they do that, you will be hit hard. And you can see almost every single large creator has said this at one point or another. YouTube has done this, and it's hit me financially this way. YouTube has done this, and it's hit me financially this way. That's how YouTube works, unfortunately. And so yeah, if you want to be a YouTuber, if you want to be a successful YouTuber, fuck YouTube. 100%. Ignore their rules, ignore the trending things, ignore, what's popular, because what's popular is going to change, just because that's how trends work. And what YouTube will help and what YouTube wants is going to change randomly. And your previous stuff that used to be exactly what YouTube wanted is going to be worthless after they change. So what you do need to do is make the things that you want to make. If you're on YouTube, whether you're big, small, whatever, make the things that you want to make. Or what will happen, and there was an article I read recently that actually talked about this, how major YouTubers are hitting their breaking point, and they're having to go on hiatus and stuff like that. And for a YouTuber, going on hiatus isn't like a TV show that goes on hiatus where the fans just stick around. When a YouTuber stops creating content and things like that for any amount of time, they lose subscribers, they lose people watching them, they lose money because of that. And the only ones that make it through it are the ones that are doing the things that they like to do, the kind of content that they want to do. John Bain, Total Biscuit, who unfortunately passed away last week, was one of those people that he didn't actually care about what YouTube wanted. He made long, rambling videos all the time. He was critical of YouTube. He was critical of everyone else. And he suffered for it, and he gained for it, because what eventually happened was long form content went from being something YouTube discouraged to something that YouTube significantly encouraged. And he profited off of it because he was making the kind of content he wanted to make. And you can see this over and over and over again with YouTubers that have been around for a while. I'm not saying that making the content that you want to make is going to make you successful on YouTube from a monetary standpoint, or popular on YouTube from a view standpoint, but it is going to reduce the likelihood of you getting burnt out and basically having to take time for yourself before you break like I did, or breaking like I did and then being physically incapable of doing what you used to be able to do. So yes, if you want to do this YouTube thing, I highly encourage it. Like I said, it's changed my life, despite the fact that I would say YouTube has abused the relationship pretty well. It's changed my life, and I'm still making videos. Yeah, make the videos that you want, not the videos that you think will be popular, not the videos that you think will do well in the algorithm or anything like that. That is a recipe for failure. The other things are a little bit more mechanical that I've learned, and other YouTubers have mentioned them as well. Schedules are very useful. Releasing videos the same time on the same day of the week or every day or something like that is good for you as a YouTuber. Not only, again, the algorithm that we all talk about, but is good for you as a person, as a worker, to get on a schedule, to do things, because you're not always going to feel passionate and things like that. And you're not always going to want to make a video, and learning how to kind of push through that writer's block and things like that, and put out content on a regular basis is important, and it helps you grow. That's why I do Daily December every year, despite the fact that a lot of times I don't always hit the schedule that I want to. I miss days and stuff like that. I still attempt to try to keep to a schedule as much as I can. And if I had the physical ability to, my channel would probably be doing a lot better. So yes, pick a schedule that you can stick to, and then stick to it. Like I said, I physically am incapable of doing that because my ability to handle things like this changes from day to day. I wanted to make this video yesterday. I had literally the entire day I had a migraine and could barely function. I had to turn all my lights off. I had to turn all my sound down to almost a whisper because anything louder than that hurt. I couldn't concentrate on anything. It was great. So I was never going to be able to make this video yesterday. So find a schedule. If it's once a month, once a week, once a day, once a decade probably wouldn't work, but, you know, do you. Schedules are good. Yeah, the other thing I found, the videos that are most successful for me, not only from a view standpoint, but for videos that I feel are good quality videos that I'm proud to share with other people, are the ones that I feel passionate about. That I'm not doing it for any purpose other than I want to do it. So, you know, my one of my most popular videos, the one that went almost kind of viral, was simply me doing a rant about how people treat those of us that have problems like anxiety and depression and invisible disabilities, basically. and it really resonated with people. I got like 60 or 70 subs in 30 minutes, which for my channel at that time meant I like doubled my subscriber count in 30 minutes. I got over 1,000 views on it eventually. I had a bunch of people that commented on it. It was an amazing experience for me. And every other really successful video I've had has been when I have had a message that I wanted to get out into the world. And I didn't care how people viewed it. I didn't care if people agreed with it, if they disagreed with it, whatever. I wanted to get this message out because it was important to me. I was passionate about it. So if you can do that, if you can make content that you're passionate about, that you enjoy, or even just that you feel is necessary to get out there, that's going to be your most successful content 100% of the time. I don't have a single video in my like top videos. Like here, I'll actually go to my channel right now. And for my most popular videos, they are my Superman song, which is a fluke. And I've done my best to try and bury it. It's never going to. I think it will always be my most popular video ever. But it was done from a place of love. Amy Dallin asked for people to give their interpretations of a song from a comic book. I made my own version of it, and it was badly recorded, and my voice cracked and things like that. But it was made from a place of love. It was made for something because I really wanted to be a part of that. My next most popular video is #CriticalRoleSavedMe, where I talk about the profound impact that Critical Role has had on my life, because I wanted to get that out there. I wanted the cast to know that despite the fact that what they're doing is just playing a game and letting people watch them, that their actions have helped hundreds, if not thousands, or tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, possibly even millions of people around the world. They've changed their lives. The next one after that is the one that went kind of viral, which is anxiety do's and don'ts, where I just talked about these are things you can do to help someone with anxiety who's having a panic attack. These are things don't ever do. All they do is make things worse. And the one after that is my Critters and Team Human 48-hour D&D live stream for Extra Life announcement. And that was something I was extremely proud of. I think we raised over $2,000 that year. And the year after, I think we raised over $4,000. And the year after, I think we did $3,500 or something like that. We raised a ton of money for charity by playing D&D. And it was amazing and wonderful. And then the last one on there is part of my Stopping the Stigma, which is what is schizoid personality disorder, which is a very misunderstood mental illness. It's not very well documented in the DSM-5. It's not even a diagnosis anymore. They've changed how it works. And again, Stopping the Stigma was a passion project of mine, built from the idea that I was tired of people being ashamed of mental illnesses. I was tired of people being afraid to say, hey, I have depression, hey, I have anxiety, hey, I have a personality disorder, or I have a learning disorder, or I'm on the autism spectrum, or any of those things. There's such a negative stigma behind them, and talking about it like it was a completely normal thing, because it is, was really helpful. So those are my top 5 videos. Not a single one of them was made because I thought it was going to be popular. Not a single one of them was made because I thought that it fit the trends of the time or anything like that. Every single one of them was made because I had a very strong feeling, and I wanted to get a message out there. So yeah, that's the kind of YouTube stuff I've learned. That's some of the personal stuff I've learned over the past 5 years. It's been crazy. 5 years ago, I had no idea this was going to be my life. I don't think anyone could have predicted it. I'm now in a place where modern medicine has basically failed me. I am on one medication for my anxiety that doesn't actually help my anxiety. The only reason I'm taking it is because I'll die if I stop. And I've literally tried every other medication. My psychiatrist has told me point blank, there's nothing else we can give you. Modern medicine has failed me. There's nothing it can do. Which doesn't mean that I'm permanently broken. There's therapy that has been shown to have really good stuff. I can't take a pill and fix this. There isn't a pill around that will fix it, and the vast majority of pills that will fix it for everybody else will kill me. And that is a unique thing about me. This is not an anti-medicine thing. If you have depression or anxiety or personality disorder, any mental illness, go to your doctor. Maybe go to a psychiatrist because their entire job is to deal with medication, and they're going to be able to help you a lot more than just like a general practitioner. And if they give you medication to take your medication. It helps people. It changes people's lives. I'm just not one of them. It's incredibly frustrating. It's something that I struggle with every day, learning to accept that what works for every single other person in the world will not every single, but works for the vast majority of people that have similar conditions that I do, will literally kill me. It's upsetting, but that's just how it works for me. So yes, please don't think that this is me saying don't go to your doctor, don't go to a psychiatrist, don't take medication for... No, it helps millions of people every day. And I cannot stress enough that going out and getting help, if I had gotten help before I broke, I would be a different person. Or if I had gotten help earlier, because technically I started seeing my therapist, like I said, about, I think I'd been seeing her a year before I had that breaking point where everything just went completely over. If I'd started dealing with this stuff earlier, even an extra 6 months to a year would have possibly been able to prevent what's happened to me now. So, yeah. If you're struggling, if you don't think you can handle it anymore, or even if you're just getting to the point where it's very difficult to handle anything, stress, anxiety, your mood, interacting with other people, get help. There's so many different ways to get help now. You can see a therapist, you can see a doctor, you can do group therapy, you can do other forms of therapeutic things like relaxation and martial arts and exercise, and there's so many different ways that you can help yourself, and that you can get help. But the end result is get help. It's not worth bottling it up and going, no, I can take care of this, I can handle this on my own. You'll turn into me. I don't want anyone to go through this ever. Final thing that I've learned in the 5 years that I've been on YouTube that I'm going to talk about in this video is I can't be a YouTuber. Not how I am right now. I can't handle it. I can't stick to a schedule. I can't make the kind of content I want to make. I can't put out the quality of content that is necessary for me to continue growing my audience and things like that. It's just not possible for me. Which some of you might be going, so wait a minute, why did you buy a new camera if you're just not going to do YouTube anymore? Because I'm not quitting. I've accepted the fact that I'm never going to be a full-time YouTuber. Or at least not how I am now. If medical science changes and they find a drug that can fix me, that'd be great. If my therapy gets me to the point where I can live the life that I want to live, that'll be great. Maybe I can someday. But as I am right now, completely broken and destroyed, I can't be a YouTuber. I can't. It's not going to happen. But again, over 5 years, I've learned so much from doing this, and I'm so happy of the opportunities I've been given because of YouTube, and because of social media in general, that I'm not stopping. I'm still going to make my comprehensive D&D 5e guides. I'm still going to do random vlogging when I can. Sometimes that's not possible for me. You guys probably have noticed that I have not done a random vlogging in a very long time. And a lot of that has to do with anxiety, because the things that I would want to talk about are touchy subjects. And I don't want to incite arguments and things like that. I quite literally can't handle it. So, but I'm still going to do random vloggings when I can. I'm still going to do my D&D guides, and as long as I can afford it, my Loot Crate unboxing, and I have other stuff that I want to try. I want to do more gaming content, and I'm doing Twitch, and I'm a Twitch affiliate, and so I'm going to be doing more stuff like that as well. So I'm not giving up on YouTube, despite the fact that I think I can pretty safely say YouTube has given up on me. That cool thing that they mentioned, that anyone that had a remaining balance would get a payout. No, they just, because I never reached the threshold for my first payout, YouTube just took my money, and I'm never going to see it. And again, it wasn't a lot, but it's still money that I made that I'm never going to see. So, yeah, I think I can effectively say YouTube has given up on me, and it doesn't care about me or creators like me, and that's absolutely fine. I don't care what YouTube wants anymore. Again, I am going to create the stuff that I want to create because it's important to me. I'm a performer. I have been for a very long time. Despite the fact that I am terrified to go in public, despite the fact that I'm actually a very introverted person that actively tries to look extroverted because I know the stigma behind being introverted. I still like to perform. I still like to talk. Talking is my thing, and this is where I can do it. So, yeah, as far as the channel is concerned, not a ton is going to change. Like I said, hopefully video quality is going to be better. Someday I want to upgrade the audio quality. If I can get a little bit more of these tremors and seizures under control, I want to get back to singing. I enjoy singing. I really, really do. Music's a huge part of my life. And the only reason I haven't been doing singing and stuff like that is because I physically cannot control my voice a lot of the time for very long. So I want to get back to singing. I want to do other stuff and create interesting video game content and stuff like that. Like, all that stuff's important to me. it's just going to be random, and it's going to be whenever I have the ability to do it. And sometimes that means I'm not going to make videos for weeks at a time, and sometimes that means I'm going to make multiple videos a week, sometimes daily. I'm still going to do Daily December this year, or at least I'm planning on doing it. And I probably won't get a video out every single day, but sometime during the month of December or shortly after, I will put out 31 videos. And some of them may be 30-second videos of me going, I have a migraine today, so yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. But I'm going to do it because I learned something new every year through Daily December. So, yeah, it's 5 years, guys. I've been doing this for 5 years. Officially, right now, and I'm gonna go to my analytics real quick to give you exact numbers. As of right now, in the lifetime of my channel, I have, come on, do they not have subscribers on me? There we go. I have, did I lose another one? No. I have 264 subscribers. I have 34,000 views on my content. I have 752 videos on here. I've got no idea how many hours of content I have created for this channel. I do know that in 5 years I have 147,257 minutes of people watching my content, and that's really impressive. I think in 5 years I have done more than a lot of people, and I've created more content than a lot of people on this channel, and I'm proud of that. Like I said, it's not ending or anything like that. It is simply going to continue however I can handle it to continue. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know it's a really long video. That's kind of my thing now. This is literally the only time I get to talk throughout most of my day. Because as soon as I walk outside of my room, I become almost nonverbal. My stutter becomes significantly more pronounced. The volume of my voice gets significantly lower. Yeah, so this is where I can talk, and talking is what I do. So anyway, that's all for me today. I will see you guys next time with, you know, cooler looking stuff and prettier looking stuff. I think the angle on this camera is even wider than the other one, because I had to adjust things, and you guys can, you know, things like you can see one of my other lights that's not plugged in. You can see that where you couldn't see that before. So yeah, I hope you guys like this. I hope you like the new camera. If I can make enough through the DMs Guild, I'll try and get a nice quality microphone and maybe start doing some singing again, or whatever I can handle. But I'm not going away. I'm just trying to get by, trying to deal with my broken, destroyed self, and trying to figure out how much of that brokenness is never going to be fixed and how much of it is going to get better. So again, that's all for me today, and I'll see you guys next time. All right, bye-bye.